Have you ever felt weighed down by your surroundings, as if the clutter in your home and life has become a barrier to your happiness? What if I told you that removing just 7 things in the new year could make you feel lighter, more energized, and ready to embrace the future? In this video, we'll walk you through a life-changing process that will clear both physical and mental clutter, leaving you with a fresh sense of purpose and peace. Make sure to stay until the end for practical advice and inspiring stories that could change the way you approach decluttering forever. And if you're looking for more helpful content like this, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment sharing your thoughts. Meet Linda, a 67-year-old retiree who, like many of us, has accumulated a lifetime of belongings, memories, and obligations. Linda is a kind, hard-working woman who always put others before herself. But over time, her home began to overflow with items she no longer needed, and her daily to-do list was packed with commitments that left her feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. Linda realized that in order to feel truly happy and make the most of the new year, she needed to declutter her home, her schedule, and even her thoughts. She understood that this process wasn't about giving up precious memories, but about making space for what truly mattered. And it all started with one small intentional step. 1. Physical clutter. The first step Linda took was addressing the physical clutter in her home. It's easy to let things pile up over the years. Clothes we no longer wear, kitchen gadgets we thought we'd use but never did, and knickknacks that collect dust on forgotten shelves. While these items may seem harmless on their own, they can create a sense of chaos and drain your energy. For Linda, the closet was her biggest challenge. She had clothes from different stages of her life, outfits that no longer fit, pieces that had gone out of style, and sentimental items she felt guilty about letting go. Every time she opened her closet, she felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of things she never used. So, one weekend she decided to tackle it head-on. Linda took out every piece of clothing and asked herself 2 simple questions. When was the last time I wore this? And does this make me feel good? Anything that didn't meet those criteria was donated to charity or given to friends who needed it. The process wasn't easy. Letting go of things that once held value can be emotional. But as Linda worked through her clothes, she began to feel lighter. The cluttered space transformed into an organized haven. By the time she was done, Linda felt a renewed sense of freedom. Her closet was now filled with only the essentials, things that made her happy. She learned that letting go of the old made room for new energy and experiences. And the best part? The effects were immediate. The moment she released the physical clutter, she felt an emotional shift. Now take a look around your home. Do you have clothes you haven't worn in years or items you've been holding onto for no real reason? By decluttering your space, you'll create a calm and inviting environment that reflects the life you want to live. Remember, you don't have to do it all at once. Even one small step can lead to big changes. 2. Negative relationships. While clearing out physical clutter is important, decluttering your relationships can be just as powerful. There are people in our lives who uplift and inspire us, but there are also those who drain our energy and bring unnecessary stress. These negative relationships can weigh you down and prevent you from living your best life. Linda had a relative who always brought negativity to family gatherings. This person complained constantly, criticized others, and seemed to radiate stress. At first, Linda tried to maintain peace by tolerating this behavior, thinking it was just part of family dynamics. But over time, it began to take a toll on her mental and emotional health. One day, Linda realized that she had the power to set boundaries. She didn't need to cut this person out of her life entirely, but she could limit her interactions and focus her time on people who made her feel valued and uplifted. At the next family event, she spent more time with relatives who brought joy and positivity, and minimized her conversations with the negative relative. She also had an honest but respectful conversation with that person, letting them know that she was seeking more positivity in her life. The result was life-changing. By setting boundaries and prioritizing her emotional well-being, Linda felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She began to look forward to family gatherings instead of dreading them. Her relationships became more meaningful, and she finally felt at peace. Think about your own relationships. Is there someone who consistently drains your energy or makes you feel unappreciated? Setting boundaries isn't about being selfish. It's about protecting your peace and making room for positive connections that help you thrive. By taking control of your relationships, you can create a more supportive and joyful life. 3. Outdated technology. Another source of hidden clutter is outdated or unused technology. Over the years, it's easy to accumulate old phones, laptops, and gadgets that no longer serve a purpose. These devices often hold forgotten files, outdated apps, and thousands of old photos that we never look at but feel guilty deleting. Linda had an old smartphone tucked away in a drawer that she hadn't used in years. The phone was filled with over 3,000 photos, most of which she had forgotten about. Every time she saw the phone, she felt a twinge of stress, knowing that she needed to sort through it but never making the time. Finally, Linda decided it was time to declutter her digital life. She took the phone out, backed up the important photos, and deleted the rest. The process took a few hours, but by the end, she felt an incredible sense of relief. She had cleared away not just digital clutter, but also the mental burden of an unfinished task. To her surprise, Linda even rediscovered some beautiful memories hidden among the old photos, pictures of trips she had taken and moments with loved ones that brought a smile to her face. By organizing her digital space, she was able to focus on the memories that truly mattered instead of feeling buried under the weight of unnecessary files. Take a moment to consider the technology in your home. Do you have an old computer, phone, or gadget that's been gathering dust? By letting go of outdated technology and organizing your digital files, you can create a sense of clarity and simplicity. Freeing up digital space can also free your mind, making room for new memories and experiences. 4. Mental clutter. Mental clutter can be just as overwhelming as physical clutter. We carry around worries, regrets, and fears about the future that build up over time and make it difficult to focus on the present. These thoughts can create unnecessary anxiety and make even the simplest tasks feel heavy and burdensome. For Linda, one of the biggest sources of mental clutter was her finances. She had avoided looking at her financial situation for years because it felt complicated and stressful. The thought of managing bills, retirement plans, and savings filled her with dread. Every time the topic came up, she felt a tight knot in her stomach. But Linda knew that to regain peace of mind, she needed to confront this head-on. She started small by setting aside a quiet morning to review her expenses, checking her savings, and creating a simple, realistic budget. She broke the process down into manageable steps so that it didn't feel overwhelming. To her surprise, taking control of her finances gave her an immediate sense of relief. Rather than feeling buried under the weight of uncertainty, she felt empowered by the clarity she had created. By organizing her financial life, Linda experienced a profound mental shift, one where worries no longer consumed her day. What are some worries that have been occupying your thoughts? Maybe it's your finances, health, or a lingering regret. By addressing these concerns directly, you can free yourself from their weight and create space for new possibilities. Tackling mental clutter doesn't have to be done all at once. Even taking small steps, such as organizing your to-do list or journaling your concerns, can make a noticeable difference. 5. Old hobbies and unfinished projects. As we grow older, our interests and passions naturally change. The hobbies that once brought us joy may no longer spark the same excitement. Sometimes we hold on to unfinished projects or collections out of a sense of obligation rather than genuine interest. Linda loved collecting stamps in her younger years, and her collection grew into an impressive archive. However, over time, she realized that the hobby no longer brought her joy. The collection sat untouched in a corner, becoming more of a burden than a source of pride. One day, Linda decided it was time to let go. She found a young relative who shared an interest in stamps and passed the collection on to them. Not only did this act free up physical space in her home, but it also brought Linda a sense of relief and peace. By letting go, she opened the door to explore new interests that aligned with who she was now. Think about the hobbies or unfinished projects you may have outgrown. Is there something that has been sitting on a shelf, reminding you of what you haven't completed? Releasing these old hobbies doesn't mean giving up. It means creating room for new experiences and passions. Sometimes, passing something along to someone who will appreciate it can make the process feel more rewarding. 6. Unnecessary obligations. We've all been guilty of saying yes to things out of guilt or a desire to help others, even when we don't have the time or energy. Overcommitting can lead to burnout, leaving you feeling drained and disconnected from the things that matter most. Linda was an active volunteer who cared deeply about giving back to her community. However, over the years she became involved in too many organizations, each demanding her time and attention. Instead of feeling fulfilled, she found herself overwhelmed and unable to enjoy the activities she once loved. After some reflection, Linda realized that she needed to scale back. She chose to focus on one organization that aligned closely with her values and gracefully stepped away from the rest. The change was transformative. With fewer obligations on her schedule, she finally had time to rest, spend time with loved ones, and pursue hobbies she enjoyed. Saying no to certain commitments isn't selfish, it's an act of self-care. It allows you to protect your time and prioritize what truly brings you joy. If you find yourself stretched too thin, take a moment to evaluate your obligations. Which commitments bring you fulfillment, and which ones feel like an obligation you've outgrown? By letting go of unnecessary tasks, you create space for meaningful experiences. 7. Unresolved past issues. One of the hardest forms of clutter to let go of is unresolved emotional baggage. Whether it's an old conflict, regret, or hurtful memory, these unresolved issues can linger in our hearts and minds for years, holding us back from fully embracing the present. For Linda, a long-standing disagreement with her sister had cast a shadow over her life. What began as a small misunderstanding grew into a rift that kept them apart for years. Linda replayed the argument in her mind over and over, holding on to resentment and regret. The weight of this unresolved issue affected her relationships with others and diminished her ability to experience joy. One day, Linda realized that she was ready to move forward. She reached out to her sister and asked for an open, honest conversation. It wasn't easy, but through vulnerability and mutual understanding, they were able to clear the air and apologize to each other. For the first time in years, Linda felt a profound sense of freedom. The emotional burden she had carried for so long was lifted. Is there something in your past that you've been holding on to? Whether it's a regret, a conflict, or an unspoken apology, consider what it would feel like to finally let go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing to free yourself from the hold of the past. You deserve to live fully in the present without carrying the weight of unresolved pain. Linda's life transformed after she let go of physical clutter, toxic relationships, outdated technology, mental stress, old hobbies, unnecessary obligations, and unresolved past issues. By releasing what no longer served her, she created room for new joy, peace, and meaningful experiences. As the new year approaches, take this as your sign to start your own decluttering journey. You don't have to do everything at once. Small, intentional steps can lead to incredible changes. What will you let go of today to create space for the life you truly want? Let us know in the comments below. If this video inspired you, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts. We'd love to hear your decluttering stories and celebrate your progress with you. Here's to a lighter, brighter future filled with peace and possibility.